Today on Bridge City Sessions Gear Reviews, we're going to be taking a look at Oeksound's SOOTHE plugin. Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name's Taylor, and if you're new here, we do all sorts of stuff like live band performances as well as gear reviews just like this one. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon if you want to see more videos like this one. Today I'm going to be checking out Oeksound's SOOTHE plugin. Oeksounds. I don't know. Whatever. The plugin's called SOOTHE. Make sure to stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to show you hands-on what it does as well as what it can do to your mix. SOOTHE is an intelligent dynamic EQ that makes cleaning up the mids and the highs on your track or even in your full mix a breeze. It notches out the harsh frequencies and gives you a more polished, pleasant sounding track. You can use it on individual tracks or even on your master bus to clean up your whole mix. One of the things I want to mention about the plugin, when I first loaded it up, I had some problems with it making clipping sounds, and I wasn't sure exactly what that was about, but what I came to the conclusion of is it was my gain staging. Most plugins have a sweet spot. You don't want the input to be too loud or too quiet going in, as it'll affect the way the plugin processes the signal. And so I noticed this with SOOTHE when I put it on my master track. I could put it on my guitar tracks without any problem, but when I put it on the master bus, I kept getting this clipping sound, and when I went back and looked at my gain staging, I realized that I just had too much volume going into the plugin. So if you load this plugin up and you do get some clipping sounds, just look at your gain staging a little bit closer and make sure you're paying attention to that. Which you should be doing anyways. It's one of the best practices in mixing, and if you're not paying attention to your gain staging, it can cause you a lot of problems. Anyways, this isn't a video about gain staging, I just thought I'd mention that. One of the things that's really nice about this plugin that I love is it saves you the hassle of having to put EQs and notch out frequencies on whatever tracks you're trying to clean up. I spend a lot of time doing this on guitars usually, and even on drums, and especially like snare drums and overheads and cymbals and stuff like that. And this really just makes all of that a lot easier. You can throw this plugin on, you can dial in the different settings, and it'll take care of that for you. The other thing is sometimes doing deductive EQ where you're notching out harsh frequencies in a mix is really difficult if you don't have a tuned listening environment. If you can hear stuff bouncing off the walls in your mixing environment, it'll really mess up what you're actually hearing, and it makes notching really difficult. So if you don't have a great mixing environment or you're new to the process, this could give you a shortcut to having really clean, polished sounding mixes. And if you're someone who spends a lot of time mixing, this could save you a ton of time having to go through and notch out all those harsh frequencies in your tracks. Alright, with all that being said, let's get over here and get to it. Okay, so now I have a track loaded up here, and I have the guitar soloed, and I'm just going to show you what SOOTHE does to the guitar sound. When I recorded these guitars, I noticed that it had a little bit of fizziness in the 4K range, so we're going to see what SOOTHE does to that. I'd recommend listening with a pair of headphones or studio monitors if you have them, because what SOOTHE does is very subtle, and you might not be able to hear it if you're listening back on your phone or TV speakers. So you can hear there's a lot of harshness in the high end in the like 4K range. So I'll play it back and then I'll add SOOTHE and we'll just kind of dial in the settings. Okay, so what this is doing is, you can adjust each band's sensitivity by moving this node up and down, and placing it in the specific frequency range that you want to adjust. On the left here, these are global controls, and what the depth does is it changes the amount that it's going to cut out of that frequency. So if I wanted to give an extreme example of what this plugin does, I could just turn the depth way up. And if we want to get crazy about it, you can just cut everything out. The sharpness is going to narrow the frequency bands that it's cutting. I'll show you. And the selectivity is going to adjust the sensitivity, essentially. It's essentially the threshold on the unit. So if you turn it up, it'll be more specific about the frequencies that it cuts, and if you turn it down, it'll be a little bit less selective. So let me dial this in real quick, and then we'll just do an A-B comparison. If you can hear that back, what it's actually doing is it's cutting a lot of the harsh frequencies right around the 4K range. When it's off, you can hear it. It's just this kind of like ear-piercing, squealing sort of sound in the 4K range, and then when you turn Soothe on, it just cuts all that stuff out. What I really like about this is it's dynamic, so it's not like notching where you're just cutting a whole frequency the whole time. This is actually responding to the input and increasing and decreasing the cut as it hears harshness. Now I want to try it on a full mix. There's a mix that I did a few years ago, and it's just really shrill in the high end. I couldn't get it up to like a professional volume without that shrill in there, and I tried to notch some of it out, but it just didn't really work. So I'm going to load that up, and we're going to try Soothe on that mix. So I have this track loaded up. Now I'm just going to play it back and I'm going to dial Soothe in and see if we can notch out some of that harshness. Okay, so I've got this dialed in, and mostly what I'm cutting out is the high end, like where the cymbals and the guitars cross over. There's a lot of harshness in there, and I'll just show you what it sounds like A-B. Okay, so this is without the plugin. So you can hear what it's doing is just smoothing some of those harsh frequencies over and just like really notching out the problem areas. Now on top of Soothe being on my mix bus, I also have a limiter, I have a compressor, and I also have a harmonic saturation plugin that's adding some tape emulation. So keep that in mind when you're listening to it, because Soothe is just in the mix with all of this other stuff. It's a little bit more subtle when it's on the mix bus. This is why I think this is such a cool plugin. It's really valuable to beginners because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of notching out, especially if you don't have a great listening environment. And for professionals and people who do audio engineering all the time, it could save you a lot of time and hassle of having to go through and actually notch out all those frequencies manually. So that's it for this review. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. I'll see you next time.